The following conversation is between two AI-generated avatars based on a conversation that occurred between myself, Lewis Schiff, chairman of the board for Birthing of Giants, and a business owner who is a graduate of Birthing of Giants. All names, dates, and dollar figures have been changed to protect confidential details.
Welcome to the deep dive. You've got questions, you're maybe short on time, and you want to get smart fast.
Exactly. And today, we're doing just that. We're diving into a really interesting real-world situation that one of you shared.
Right. Our mission today is to pull up the key insights from a conversation. It's between Jeff, who's the founder of J-Rock Company, and Lewis Schiff from Birthing of Giants.
And they're talking about something big. A potential acquisition of Jeff's company, J-Rock, by a private equity firm.
Think of this as, well, your shortcut. A way to quickly understand the kinds of complexities that pop up when a business owner starts getting that kind of attention, potential acquisition interest.
We've got parts of Jeff and Lewis's actual discussion, and we're going to unpack the critical bits. Like, what are the first things to even think about when PE comes knocking?
What's driving them? What's driving the seller, potentially? And maybe most importantly, what are those crucial first steps for an owner in this spot?
Let's get straight into it.
Okay. And Jeff's company, J-Rock, it's a hyper-specialized consulting firm, right? Working with manufacturing companies, say, $2 million to $50 million revenue.
They've caught the eye of two PE firms, Gold Capital and AER.
That is interesting. And what I noticed right away is Jeff being proactive, seeking expert advice immediately.
Absolutely critical. And the context of J-Rock's market matters, too. You mentioned hyper-specialized. They're kind of in a blue ocean. Less direct competition.
Makes them attractive.
Now, here's where it gets strategic. These two firms, Gold Capital and AER, they actually bought Rock's competitor, a company called Three Bridges, back in 2022.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the same key people were involved. John Byron from Gold Capital and Patty Grant, who's now the CEO over at Three Bridges.
No, it points to a pattern. That previous acquisition really suggests a specific strategy is already playing out, doesn't it?
It screams buy and build.
Right, the classic PE playbook. Buy multiple companies in one sector, bolt them together, create something bigger, more valuable.
Get those economies of scale, broader reach. And it seems their interest in J-Rock specifically is about the team. You mentioned deep team experience and professional licensing.
Things Three Bridges maybe didn't have to the same extent.
That seems to be the implication. And look at the potential offer for Jeff himself. They're talking about him heading up consulting services for the whole combined operation, basically stepping into the role of this retiring guy, John.
Wow, okay, so that's a significant carrot being dangled?
It's compelling, for sure. But Lewis's first reaction, his initial advice to Jeff, it's all about caution, preparation.
He warns about the danger of chatting with potential buyers without being fully prepared.
Exactly. And he mentions the sheer amount of money out there, like $2.5 trillion annually, looking for deals. Good companies will get approached.
So don't get dazzled by the first offer or the idea of a quick exit. Be informed.
Be informed. And his advice for that very first meeting was really direct. Listen, don't talk.
Not just being quiet, but strategically gathering information.
Understand their reasons, their goals, what they really value in your company before you start laying out your own cards, your own price ideas. It's about information asymmetry.
Using it to your advantage.
Lewis also suggested Jeff find out who else these buyers might be talking to. If it's a roll-up, who else is potentially in the mix?
Gives you the bigger picture of their strategy.
Right. And Lewis even questioned Jeff's idea of bringing his entire C-suite team to that first meeting.
Oh, that's interesting. I might have thought showing the team depth would be a plus. Like, look how strong we are.
It's a fair point. You do want to show strength. But Lewis's concern, I think, was maybe keeping that initial focus tight on the strategic vision, Jeff's potential leadership role. Bringing everyone might dilute that first high-level chat.
Okay, I see the thinking there. But Jeff had his reasons for wanting them there, right?
He explained they're not just his C-suite, they're basically his board too. And they hold phantom equity.
Ah, so they have skin in the game. A vested interest.
A significant one?
Again, what did they find?
Well, their research confirmed that buy and build pattern. And also that these firms tend to hold investments for a decent time, and they often keep the management teams in place, especially if the owner, like Jeff maybe, isn't looking for a 100% immediate exit.
So that background research gave Jeff some confidence in their typical approach.
Exactly.
So how did that first meeting actually go?
He reported back that it went exceptionally well. The clear message was, they want us.
Okay. not just kicking tires.
No. Seems like J-Rock fits into their strategic plan, maybe a 3-year growth plan he mentioned. And they really value that team expertise.
And the leadership role for Jeff, still on the table.
Very much so. Central to their vision, it sounds like. Positioning him as a key leader in whatever this larger entity becomes.
Did he commit to anything?
No, he played it smart, expressed interest in continuing the conversation, but framed it cleverly, like comparing finish lines. Rock's existing plan versus maybe joining forces with them.
Strategic positioning, evaluating which path leads to the best outcome.
Okay. So the next step is the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. The second meeting is already scheduled.
Jeff feels, based on his research, this is all legit, 100% on the up and up.
Yeah, he seems confident in the legitimacy. But he's still wisely asking Lewis for advice on best practice during this early phase, this kind of dating period, before the lawyers really get heavily involved.
Makes sense. It's a critical time. Setting the tone, managing expectations. What does Lewis advise now?
Well, now the focus shifts to anticipating what the buyers will ask for next. Things like exclusivity or a lockup period, maybe.
Where Jeff couldn't talk to other potential buyers for a while.
Or restricting Jeff from selling his shares for a certain time after the deal. And crucially, the letter of intent, the LOI, that's coming.
Which outlines the basic terms, the price range, the structure.
Correct. So Lewis is telling Jeff, you need to think now about how you'll react to those requests. What's acceptable, what's not. Plan for different scenarios.
Thinking ahead. And Lewis also pushes for bringing in more help, right? External advisors beyond just their chat.
Strongly advises it. Someone who lives and breathes these transactions, who can guide Jeff through every step as things get more complex.
Okay, so NDA signed, second meeting coming up. Jeff expects something soon after.
Yeah, he thinks an indication of interest, an IOI, which is like a precursor to the LOI, might land this week.
And here's another proactive step from J-Rock. They've been doing their own valuation work.
Trying to figure out their own value range before Gold Capital puts a number on the table.
Smart. Not just relying on basic revenue multiples, but considering their unique market position, their team strength, it gives them a benchmark.
It's a crucial internal benchmark. It doesn't replace a full valuation by an investment bank, but it means they're not starting the negotiation blind.
Definitely puts them in a stronger position mentally, at least.
Yes. Which brings us to Lewis's final piece of advice in this snippet.
Which was?
Let's make it our game, not theirs.
I like that. It sums up the whole approach, doesn't it? Preparation, strategy, taking control of the process as much as possible.
Absolutely. It pulls together all those key takeaways from this early stage. The vital importance of prep, really understanding the buyer's angle, their strategy.
And just how much weight these initial conversations carry. They really set the stage for everything that follows.
And for you, the listener, I think the real aha moment here is seeing a real company, a real founder, navigate this. It's not theoretical. It makes the whole acquisition process much more tangible.
Yeah, you get a feel for the pressures, the decisions. It really prompts you to think, doesn't it? Like, what are those subtle power dynamics when a big PE firm comes after a smaller, successful niche player?
What are the really critical questions an owner needs to ask themselves beyond just the money? Is this the right future for the company, for the team, for me?
And how much does doing that upfront research like Jeff did truly empower you when you sit down at that negotiating table?
It makes a world of difference. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to chew on.
Go on.
Just consider the power dynamic again. Think about the power that comes from being able to strategically shape the terms. Or even just walk away, saying no or not on these terms.
Right. There's more to it than just the headline number. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.